The sun was low in the sky, painting the small town of Willow Creek, Ohio in soft orange light. It was a peaceful summer evening in July. Birds sang in the trees, a gentle breeze moved the leaves. Most families were inside eating dinner or watching television. On Maple Street, in a modest two-story house with a red door, 10-year-old Ethan Brooks kicked a worn baseball across the grass in his backyard. His 8-year-old sister Emma chased after it laughing. Her ponytail bounced with every step. "Come on, Ethan, throw it higher," Emma called. She wore a bright yellow t-shirt and denim shorts. Her sneakers were covered in dirt from playing all afternoon. Ethan grinned. He was tall for his age, with messy brown hair and a few freckles across his nose. "Okay, but don't drop it this time." He tossed the ball in a high arc. Emma jumped, arms stretched wide. She caught it and cheered, "See, I got it." Inside the house, their parents were busy. Brian Brooks, their dad, stood at the stove stirring spaghetti sauce. He wore an old gray t-shirt and jeans. He worked long hours at the auto parts factory, so evenings like this were his favorite time, simple, quiet, full of family smells. Lauren Brooks, their mom, chopped vegetables at the counter. She was a third-grade teacher at the local elementary school. Her hair was tied back in a loose bun. She hummed softly to a song playing on the radio. Outside, the children kept playing. The sky slowly turned darker. Crickets began their evening song. Everything felt normal and safe. Then, without warning, a faint blue glow appeared above the yard. At first, Ethan thought it was lightning, but there was no thunder, no clouds either. The light grew brighter and softer at the same time. It spread over the grass like spilled water made of stars. The baseball fell from Emma's hands and rolled forgotten to the fence. Both children froze and looked up. Large silver shape hung in the air. It was smooth with no sharp edges, no wings, no engines roaring. It made no sound at all. The blue light came from underneath it and bathed the entire backyard in calm color. The swing set, the flower pots, the wooden fence. Everything looked strange and beautiful under that glow. Ethan's heart beat fast. "Emma, what is that?" Emma grabbed his hand. Her fingers were small and warm. "I don't know. It's pretty, though." Before either of them could run or shout, they felt something gentle lift their feet off the ground. It was not rough or scary. It felt like floating in a warm pool. They rose slowly, still holding hands. The grass moved farther away. The roof of their house slid below them. They could see the chimney and the television light flickering through the living room window. Inside, Brian tasted the sauce and added a pinch of salt. Lauren set plates on the table. Neither of them noticed the strange light outside or heard any unusual sound. Ethan and Emma floated higher. They passed through an opening in the bottom of the silver craft. The opening closed silently behind them. The blue light faded. They stood on a smooth, cool floor inside a large, round room. The walls glowed with soft white light. There were no windows, but the air smelled clean, like after rain. The children looked at each other. Ethan's eyes were wide. Emma's mouth formed a small O of surprise. "Are we in space?" Emma whispered. "I think so," Ethan answered. His voice shook a little, but he tried to sound brave. He squeezed her hand tighter. A tall figure stepped forward from the shadows. It was not human. The being was thin and gray with long arms and large black eyes. It wore a dark uniform with strange symbols on the chest. It moved smoothly without hurry. The gray being spoke in clear English. Its voice was calm and low. Do not be afraid, you are safe. My name is Lyra. I am a doctor here. Ethan stepped slightly in front of Emma. Why did you take us? We want to go home. Lyra tilted her head. It was a mistake. We did not mean to take children. We were looking for grown humans to learn from. Our machines chose wrong. Emma peeked around her brother. Are you aliens? Lyra made a soft sound that might have been a laugh. Yes, we come from far away. Our home is called Krell. We have watched your planet for a long time. High above, in the command center of the huge ship, General Zorvak stood with his arms crossed. He was taller than Lyra, with thicker skin the color of wet stone. Sharp ridges ran along his shoulders and back. His eyes were narrow and bright yellow. He wore heavy armor decorated with gold lines that showed his high rank. Around him, screens showed pictures of Earth, cities, oceans, forests, and tiny moving dots that were cars and people. Lieutenant Kale, his second in command, stood nearby. Kale was younger, with smoother skin and fewer ridges. He looked nervous. General Zorvak stared at the main screen. It showed live images of Ethan and Emma in the holding room. The two small humans stood close together, talking to Lyra. Children, Zorvak said. His voice was deep and rough like rocks grinding together. You brought me children. Kale swallowed. The scout drones picked up high energy in that yard, jumping, running, laughing, strong signals. We thought maybe athletes or workers. Zorvak turned slowly, his yellow eyes burned. You thought wrong. These are not specimens for study. These are offspring, human young. Do you know what humans do when someone takes their young? Kale looked at the floor. They get angry. Very angry. Angry? Zorvak laughed, but there was no joy in it. They start wars over their children. They hunt, they destroy, they never stop. We have rules, strict rules. No contact with juveniles, no abduction of the young ever. He walked closer to the screen. Ethan was asking Lyra questions now. The boy pointed at the glowing walls. Emma smiled at something Lyra said. They did not look terrified, they looked curious. Zorvak felt something strange twist inside him. Not fear exactly, but worry, deep worry. How long have they been aboard? 12 minutes, Kale answered. And they're home. Suburban area, low population density. Parents are inside the dwelling, no alert yet. Zorvak clenched his large fists, claws clicked against his palms. We return them, now, before anyone notices, before machines on Earth detect us, before their parents look out the window and see an empty yard. Kale hesitated. General, the Council wants new data. If we abort, the Council can wait. Zorvak snapped. I will not risk open conflict because some scout machine made an error. Prepare the descent beam. Target the same yard, exact coordinates. No mistakes. Kale nodded quickly and moved to a control panel. Lights flashed under his fingers. Down in the holding room, Lyra knelt so she was closer to the children's height. Tell me your names. I'm Ethan, the boy said. This is my sister Emma. Hello, Ethan. Hello, Emma. Lyra's black Eyes softened. You are very brave. Most humans would scream. Emma shrugged. It's kind of exciting. Like a movie, but we really want to go home. Mom made spaghetti tonight. Lyra smiled with her small mouth. Spaghetti, I'd have read about it long. Noodles, red sauce, cheese, Dad makes the best sauce. In the command center, alarms began to beep softly. Red lights blinked on several screens. General Kale said, a human aircraft is moving closer, not military, small plane, but radar may have caught our brief signature when we lowered the field. Zorvax's ridges flared. How close? 20 kilometers and closing. They may not see us yet, but if we stay much longer. Zorvax stared at the children on the screen again. Ethan was now touching a glowing panel. On the wall, it changed color when his fingers brushed it. Emma clapped her hands. The general felt that strain. Twist again, stronger this time. These were not soldiers or scientists. They were small, soft, full of questions and trust. And because of his crew's mistake, they were here far from their spaghetti and their parents. Beam them down, Zorvax ordered. Immediately, I will oversee it myself. He turned and strode toward the lift. That would take him to the holding level. His heavy boots echoed in the corridor. For the first time in many cycles, the great General Zorvax of the Kryllian Empire felt something close to panic. Not panic for war, not panic for his ship. Panic because two small humans were now his responsibility. And he had no idea what would happen if he failed to return them safely. The silver ship stayed hidden high above the clouds. Its engines made no noise. From the ground, no one could see it. Inside the bright round room, Ethan and Emma sat on soft gray cushions that floated a little above the floor. The cushions felt warm and gentle, like sitting on a cloud. The walls glowed with soft light that changed slowly from white to pale blue and back again. Strange round windows showed earth far below, big oceans, green lands, and tiny white clouds drifting like cotton. Dr. Lyra stood a short distance away. She did not want to scare them, so she kept her movements slow. Her large black eyes watched the children carefully. She had studied many species before, but never one so small and so quick to ask questions. Ethan looked around the room. This place is really different. How do the cushions float? Lyra answered in her calm voice. Small energy fields hold them up like magnets, but softer. Your scientists will discover something similar one day. Emma touched the cushion under her. It moved a tiny bit when she pressed down. It's like sitting on a big pillow that knows where you are. Lyra made that soft sound again, almost like a chuckle. Yes, the ship tries to make guests comfortable. Ethan crossed his arms. We're not guests. You took us. That's kidnapping. Lyra lowered her head a little. You are right, it was wrong, our scout. Machines look for strong life signs. You were playing and laughing. Your energy was high. The machine thought you were good. Examples of healthy humans. It did not. No, you were children. Emma tilted her head. So you only wanted grown-ups. Yes, Lyra said. We watch Earth to learn. We take a few people sometimes, ask questions, look at their bodies and minds, then send them back with no memory of us. We never hurt anyone, but children are different. Your minds grow fast. Your feelings are strong. We have strict rules against taking the young. Ethan frowned. Then why didn't you send us back right away? Lyra looked toward the door. The general is deciding now. He is very upset. Up in the command center, General Zorvek stood like a statue made of stone. His yellow eyes stared at the big screen. That showed the children talking to Lyra. Lieutenant Kale stood beside him waiting for orders. The room was quiet except for the soft hum of machines and the occasional beep from the control panels. Zorvek spoke without turning. How long until the return beam is ready? Kale checked a small screen on his arm. 5 more minutes, General. We must match the exact spot in there. Yard, too much wind or movement, and they could land wrong, maybe in a tree or on the roof. Zorvek's claws tapped against the metal rail in front of him. 5 minutes is too long. Earth machines are already searching. A small plane flew close 10 minutes ago. Their radar touched our cloak for 2 seconds. Not enough to see us clearly, but enough to make someone curious. He turned to Kale. Show me the children. Again, closer view. The screen zoomed in. Ethan was asking Lyra about the glowing walls. Emma had picked up a small floating ball that changed colors every time she touched it. She laughed when it turned bright pink. Zorvex watched in silence for a long moment, then he said quietly, "They are not crying, they are not begging. They ask questions, they smile." Kale looked surprised. Humans usually panic when taken. Adults scream or fight. These ones seem calm. "They are young," Zorvex said. "Their fear is there, but so is wonder. They see a new place, strange things, a talking gray being instead of terror. They feel curiosity. That makes it worse. Worse, General." Zorvex's voice grew lower. "If they were screaming, I could feel anger. I could say they are weak. But this trust, this small bravery, it makes me remember our own young long ago, before the wars took so many. If someone took one of our children and spoke gently to them, I would tear the galaxy apart to get them back." Kale said nothing. He had never heard the general speak this way. Zorvax straightened. "We return them. No more delay. Tell Lyra to prepare them. Tell her to explain gently. No lies, they deserve truth." Kale nodded and sent the message through his wrist device. Down in the round room, Lyra received the order. She looked at the children. "Good news," she said. "The general has decided we will take you home soon." Emma clapped her hands. "Really? Tonight?" "Yes, very soon." Ethan still looked serious. "Will we remember this, or will you make us forget?" Lyra hesitated. "Normally we remove memories. It keeps your world calm. No panic, no fear of us. But the general says you may keep this memory if you promise not to tell many people." Ethan thought about it. "Mom and Dad will worry if we just disappear and come back. They'll think we ran away or got lost. If we tell them the truth, maybe they won't be so scared." Emma nodded. "We can tell just them and maybe our best friends, but not the whole school, promise." Lyra smiled with her small mouth. "That is fair. I will tell the general." She touched a small panel on the wall. Soft chime sounded. The message went up to the command center. Zorvax received it. He closed his eyes for a second. "They want to tell their parents only. Them." Kale asked, "Do we allow it?" Zorvex opened his eyes. "Yes, small risk, better than letting fear grow in their hearts. Fear makes humans dangerous. Trust, maybe it makes them better." He turned to the control panel. "Begin." Final checks, lower the ship slowly. Find a quiet field near their home. No houses, no roads. We will walk them out. Ourselves. Kale looked shocked. You will go down there in person. Yes, Zorvak said. I made the mistake. Happen under my command. I will fix it. With my own hands. The ship began to move. It dropped slowly through the clouds. The cloak stayed on, hiding it from eyes and machines below. Inside, the lights dimmed a little too. Help the descent. In the round room, Lyra pointed to the window. Look, we are going lower now. Ethan and Emma pressed their faces close to the clear panel. They saw clouds rush past, then fields, roads, tiny houses with lights in the windows. The world looked so small from up here. Emma whispered, "It's beautiful." Ethan nodded. "Yeah, but I still want my bed and Max." Lyra asked Max. "Our dog," Emma said. "He's brown and fluffy. He sleeps on my feet every night." Lyra recorded the words in her mind. She liked learning these small things about humans. The ship reached a large, empty cornfield about 3 miles from Maple Street. The stalks were tall and dry. Whispering in the night wind, the ship settled gently. No one on the ground heard or saw anything. A ramp opened in the floor. Cool night air came in. It smelled of earth and grass. The general waits outside. Ethan took Emma's hand. They walked together down the ramp. The metal felt cold under their sneakers. At the bottom stood General Zorvax. He was huge, much taller than Lyra. His stone-gray skin looked hard in the moonlight. His armor shone faintly. His yellow eyes watched the children. Ethan stopped. Emma squeezed his hand tighter. Zorvax knelt slowly. He went down on one knee so his face was closer to theirs. His voice was deep but soft. "I am General Zorvax. I am sorry, this should not have happened. My people made a mistake. You are going home now." Ethan looked up at him. "You're really big." Zorvax almost smiled. "Yes, and you are very small but brave." Emma asked, "Are you the boss?" "Yes," Zorvax said, "and I promise no more children ever." Ethan nodded slowly. "Okay, thank you for sending us back." Zorvax stood again. He looked toward the distant lights of the town. "Go, your parents wait. Run fast, they will be worried." The children turned. They started walking through the corn. The stalks brushed their shoulders. They looked back once. Lyra and Zorvax stood at the ramp watching. Ethan waved. Emma waved too. Then they ran. High above, the ship rose again. Zorvax returned to the command center. He stood silent for a long time, staring at the blue planet. Kale asked quietly, "General, are you all right?" Zorvax answered without looking away. From the screen, "No, but the children." "Lord, that is enough for now." The ship jumped into the dark, leaving only stars and silence behind. Ethan and Emma ran through the tall cornstalks. Dry leaves brushed against their arms and legs. The night air felt cool on their skin. After the warm ship, moonlight made silver paths between the rows. They could hear crickets and far away dogs barking. Their sneakers sank a little into the soft dirt. "Keep going straight," Ethan said, breathing fast. "I saw lights that way." "That's town." Emma nodded. She held his hand tight. "Do you think Mom and Dad called the police?" "Maybe. We were gone a long time." They reached the edge of the field. Narrow dirt road ran along it, across The road stood a wooden fence and then houses with yellow porch lights. One house looked familiar. The one with the big oak tree in front, that was Mrs. Carter's place. Their street was only a few blocks away. They crossed the road quickly, no cars came, the town felt quiet and sleepy. Street lamps glowed orange, a cat watched them from a mailbox, its eyes shining green. When they turned onto Maple Street, their house came into view, every light was on, living room, kitchen, upstairs. Bedrooms, the front door stood open, 2 police cars parked in the driveway. Red and blue lights flashed slowly across the lawn. Neighbors stood on porches, whispering and watching. Ethan slowed down. They're looking for us. Emma's voice shook. They think we're lost or worse. They started running again. As they reached the yard, their mom stepped out the door. Lauren Brooks saw them first. Her face went white, then red. She dropped the phone she was holding. Ethan, Emma. She ran down the steps. Brian came right behind her. He wore his work boots and no jacket. His hair looked messy, like he had been pulling at it. Lauren reached them first. She dropped to her knees and pulled both children into a tight hug. Tears ran down her cheeks. Oh my God, where were you? We looked everywhere. Brian knelt too. He wrapped his big arms around all 3 of them. His voice cracked. You're okay? You're really okay? A police officer walked over. He was tall with a kind face. Mr. and Mrs. Brooks, these are your kids? Yes, Brian said. He did not let go. Yes. They're ours. The officer spoke into his radio. We found them. They're safe. Cancel the search teams. Neighbors clapped softly. Some wiped their eyes. Mrs. Carter called out, "Thank goodness." Lauren stood up but kept one arm around each child. Come inside right now. You need water and food, and just come inside. They walked into the house. It smelled like spaghetti sauce and home. Max, their brown dog, barked once, then jumped up, tail wagging so hard his whole body shook. He licked Emma's face over and over. She laughed through tears. The police officer followed them in. He closed the door behind him. I need to ask a few questions. Nothing scary, just so we understand what happened. Brian nodded. Of course, sit down, kids. Tell us everything. Ethan and Emma sat on the couch. Max jumped up between them. Lauren brought glasses of water. Brian stood close, arms crossed, ready to listen. Ethan took a deep breath. We were playing catch in the backyard. Then a blue light came. A big silver ship floated above us. It didn't make any noise. We floated up into it like magic, but real. The officer raised one eyebrow. Lauren looked worried. Brian stayed quiet. Emma added, inside was nice, soft lights, floating cushions. A gray lady named Lyra talked to us. They wanted grown-ups, not kids. Ethan continued. There was a big general named Zorvax. He was tall and scary looking, but he said sorry. He knelt down so he could talk to us better. He promised they won't take kids again. They brought us back to a cornfield. We ran home. The room went silent. The officer wrote something in his notebook. A spaceship, aliens, and they let you go. Yes, Ethan said. They were nice mostly. Scared of making humans angry. Lauren touched Ethan's cheek. Honey, did someone take you? Maybe bad people dressed up or a prank? Ethan shook his head. No, Mom, it was real. We saw Earth from space. It looked like a blue ball. We felt the ship move. They showed us pictures of their home. It's far away. Emma said they even knew what spaghetti is. Brian rubbed his face with both hands. This sounds crazy, but they're here. They're not hurt, no marks, no blood. Just dirty from the field. The officer closed his notebook. We'll file a report, missing children found. Safe. We can check the cornfield for any signs, footprints, tire tracks. Anything. But honestly, spaceships aren't something we usually put in reports. He looked at the children. You two did good, you stayed calm, you came home. If anything else happens or if you remember more, call us, okay? They nodded. After the officer left, the family sat together on the couch. Max curled up on Emma's lap. Lauren made hot chocolate. Brian turned off the flashing police lights outside by waving to the officers. When the house was quiet again, Lauren asked softly, do you want to talk more about it or go to bed? She nodded. We promise not to tell everyone. Ethan said, just family. The aliens asked us to keep it quiet so people don't get scared. Brian smiled a little. Smart promise. We won't tell the whole town, but your family, we believe you. Lauren hugged them again. Whatever happened, you're safe now. That's what matters. They went upstairs. Ethan brushed his teeth. Emma changed into pajamas. Lauren tucked them in. She left the hall light on like always. In his room, Ethan lay staring at the ceiling. Stars glowed on the stickers he put there years ago. He thought about the big silver ship, about Lyra's gentle voice, about General Zorbak's kneeling in the moonlight. Across the hall, Emma hugged her stuffed bear. She whispered to it, we met real aliens and they said sorry. Downstairs, Brian and Lauren sat at the kitchen table. The spaghetti was cold now. They did not feel like eating. Brian said, do we believe them? Lauren looked out the window at the dark yard. I don't know, but I believe they believe it and they're not hurt. That's enough for tonight. Brian reached across the table and took her hand. Tomorrow we check the cornfield. Maybe there's something. Maybe nothing. Either way, they're home. High above Earth, the Kryllian ship moved. Away from the planet, stars stretched into long lines as it jumped into faster than light travel. Inside the command center, General Zorbak stood alone. The screen showed only black space now. Lieutenant Kale entered quietly. General, the council sent a message. They want a full report. Zorbaks did not turn. Tell them the truth. Scout error. Juvenile abduction. Immediate return. No. Contact remains. Kale hesitated. And your personal note. Zorbaks finally looked at him. His yellow eyes looked tired. Add this. Recommend permanent ban on juvenile targets. Human young are not like ours were. They are soft but strong in ways we do not understand. Taking them causes more danger than knowledge is worth. Kale nodded. Yes, General. Zorvex turned back to the stars. And tell the council I saw trust tonight. Real trust from two small beings who had every reason to hate us. We do not deserve it, but perhaps we can learn from it. Kale left without another word. Zorvax stayed on the bridge a long time. He thought about the boy's steady gaze, the girl's sweet thank you, the way they waved as they ran into the corn. For the first time in many years, the general felt small. Not weak, not afraid, just small. And somehow that felt important. Next morning, the sun rose bright over Willow Creek. Birds sang in the trees. Cars drove slowly down Maple Street. Inside the Brooks house, everything looks normal again. The kitchen smelled like coffee and toast. Max slept in a patch of sunlight on the living room rug. But the family felt different. No one talked much at breakfast. Ethan sat at the table poking at his cereal. Emma drank orange juice slowly. Lauren stood at the stove making more toast even though no one asked for it. Brian looked out the window a lot. His coffee cup stayed full and cold. Finally, Brian spoke. "I'm going to that cornfield today after work. Want to come with me, kids?" Ethan looked up. "Yes, I want to see if the ship left anything, maybe footprints." Emma nodded. "I want to go too, maybe they dropped something." Lauren turned from the stove. "I don't know if that's safe. What if someone sees us? What if it wasn't real?" Ethan met her eyes. "It was real, Mom. We both saw the same thing, the same gray lady, the same big general. We didn't dream it." Lauren sighed. She set the toast down. "Okay, we all go after dinner when it's getting dark, less people around." The day passed slowly. Ethan and Emma went to school. They did not tell their friends, they promised. In class, Ethan stared out the window, thinking about stars. Emma drew pictures of silver ships during art time but hid them in her folder. After school they came home. They did homework. They ate dinner, leftover spaghetti warmed up. No one talked about spaceships, but everyone thought about them. When the sky turned purple, Brian stood up. Time to go. They got into the family car. Lauren drove. Brian sat in the front. Ethan and Emma sat in the back with Max between them. The dog panted happily, thinking it was a fun trip. They drove past the town limits, past the gas station, past the old barn with the broken roof. Then they turned onto the dirt road next to the big cornfield. The stalks looked taller in the evening, light golden and dry. Brian parked at the edge. "This is close to where you said you came out." Ethan pointed. "Over there. See that little dip in the ground? That's where the ramp was." They got out. The air smelled sweet, like dry grass and earth. Crickets sang loud. A few fireflies blinked in the growing dark. Lauren held Emma's hand. Brian carried a flashlight. Ethan walked ahead. Max ran in circles, sniffing everything. When they reached the spot, Ethan stopped. "Here, this is it. The ground looks normal, just dirt and broken corn stalks, but in the middle of the clearing was a perfect circle. No stalks grew inside it. The dirt looks smooth, like someone pressed it flat with a giant plate. No weeds, no stones, just clean packed earth." Brian knelt and touched it. "This isn't natural." Lauren whispered. "It's exactly round, like something big landed here." Emma pointed. "Look over there." Near the edge of the circle, something small glinted in the flashlight beam. Ethan ran over and picked it up. It was a tiny silver ball, no bigger than a marble. It felt warm in his hand. When he touched it, the ball glowed soft blue, the same color as the light from the ship. Everyone gathered around. "What is it?" Lauren asked. Ethan held it up. "I think it's one of the floating toys from the room. Emma played with them." Emma smiled big. "It changed colors when I touched it, see?" The ball turned bright pink, then green, then back to blue. Brian laughed softly. "Okay, that's not normal." Max sniffed the ball and wagged his tail. Lauren looked around. Do you think they left it on purpose? Ethan thought maybe like a thank you or a sorry gift. They stood in a circle a while. The wind moved the corn. Stars came out one by one. Brian said we should go home before it gets too dark. But before they moved, a soft hum filled the air, not loud, just enough to feel in their chests. The family froze. High above, hidden by clouds, the silver ship had come back, not close, not landing, just watching. Inside the command center, General Zorvak stood at the main screen. The picture showed the small family in the cornfield. The boy held the glow ball. The girl smiled. The parents looked surprised but not scared. Lieutenant Kale stood beside him. General, why did we return? Zorvak did not answer right away. He watched the screen. I needed to know, he said finally. Needed to know if they told, if panic started, if soldiers came. Kale looked at the quiet scene. They did not tell, only family. They keep the promise. Zorvak nodded slowly. Good. He touched a control. A thin beam of light no wider than a finger shot down from the ship. It touched the ground near the family, right in the middle of the circle. No sound, no wind, just light. On the ground the family saw it. A small blue spark appeared. It grew into a perfect circle of light on the dirt. Inside the circle words formed, simple letters, English letters. The words said, we are sorry, we will not return. Keep the gift, stay safe. The words stayed for 10 seconds, then the light faded. The ground looked normal again. Ethan read the words out loud. Everyone heard. Lauren put a hand over her mouth. Tears came to her eyes. Brian said they came back just to say sorry again. Emma hugged the glow ball to her chest. They're nice aliens. Ethan looked up at the sky. He could not see the ship, but he knew it was there. Thank you, he said quietly. High above, Zorvak heard the words. Through the sensitive microphones, he closed his yellow eyes for a moment. Kale asked general orders. Zorvak opened his eyes. Set course for home, full speed, no more stops near this system. He turned away from the screen. And delete all records of juvenile contact, not for hiding, for respect. They deserve peace. The ship turned. Stars blurred as it jumped away. On the ground, the family stood a little longer. Then they walked back to the car. No one spoke much on the drive home. When they got inside, Lauren made tea. Brian locked the doors. Ethan and Emma sat on the couch with Max. Ethan set the silver ball on the coffee table. It glowed softly blue now, like a night light. Emma said, I'm going to keep it in my room so I remember. Ethan nodded. Me too, but we don't tell anyone else ever. Lauren came in with mugs. You kept your promise. They kept theirs. That's enough. Brian sat down. Maybe the world isn't as alone as we thought. They drank tea. They talked about normal things, school, work, the weekend, but every so often, someone looked at the silver ball. It reminded them of something big and strange and kind. That night, Ethan lay in bed. The glow ball sat on his dresser. It gave just enough light to see the star stickers on his ceiling. He thought about General Zorvak's, about kneeling, about yellow eyes that looked tired but honest. Ethan whispered to the dark, goodbye, and thank you. Across the hall, Emma hugged her bear. The ball's light came under her door. She smiled and closed her eyes. Downstairs, Lauren and Brian sat together. They did not watch television, they just sat holding hands. Lauren said, "Do you think we'll ever see them again?" Brian shook his head. "I hope not, but if we do, I think they'll be welcome." Outside, the stars shone bright. Somewhere far away, a silver ship flew toward a distant home. Inside it, a general sat quiet, thinking about two small humans who taught him something he never expected: trust. And how heavy it felt when it was given freely. Years passed in Willow Creek. The cornfield grew new stalks every spring. The silver ball stayed on Ethan's dresser for a long time, then moved to a small wooden box under his bed. Emma kept hers on a shelf in her room, next to books and drawings. It still glowed softly when touched, but the children stopped showing it to anyone new. They kept their promise. Ethan grew taller, his voice got deeper. He played baseball in high school and became very good at it. Emma joined the school art club. She drew pictures of stars, silver ships, and tall gray figures kneeling in moonlight. She never showed those drawings to teachers or friends. They stayed in a secret sketchbook. Brian and Lauren never spoke about that night to neighbors or family outside the house. Sometimes late at night, they sat together in the kitchen. They looked at the ceiling and remembered the blue light, the quiet hum, the words written in light on the dirt. They did not doubt their children anymore. They just felt grateful. One evening in late summer, when Ethan was 17 and Emma 15, the family sat outside on the porch. Crickets sang, fireflies danced over the grass. Max, now old and slow, slept at their feet. Ethan broke the quiet. "Do you ever think about them?" Lauren smiled a little. "Every day." Brian nodded. "I still check the sky. Sometimes, not scared, just wondering." Emma hugged her knees. "I miss Lyra. She was nice, like a teacher who really listened." Ethan looked at the stars. "I wonder if they learned anything from us, or if we were just a mistake they forgot." Lauren reached over and touched his arm. "You gave them something important. You showed them humans can be kind, even when they're afraid. That's not small." They sat in silence again. The night felt peaceful. Far away, on the other side of the galaxy, the Kryllian homeworld turned slowly under twin suns. The capital city rose in tall silver towers that caught the light like mirrors. Ships came and went in quiet lines. The empire had grown calmer in recent years. Fewer wars, more listening posts, more rules about contact. General Zorvax no longer wore battle armor every day. His ridges had softened with age. Some gray streaks appeared in his skin. He spent most of his time now in a quiet office high in the command tower. He read reports. He trained young officers. He thought about Earth more than he admitted. One morning, his old second in command, now Captain Kale, came to see him. Kale looked almost the same, just a little taller, a little more sure of himself. "General," Kale said, "a new observation. Report from the Sol system. Nothing major, just routine scans." Zorvax looked up from his screen. "Anything unusual?" Kale hesitated. "One small thing. The two juveniles from the incident. They are no longer juveniles. The male is almost grown, the female close behind. Their life signs are strong, healthy." Zorvax leaned back in his chair. "They kept growing, of course they did." Cal placed a small data crystal on the desk. "We picked up a faint signal, very weak, from one of the gift spheres we Left behind, it still functions. It sends a tiny pulse every few cycles. Like a heartbeat. Zorvac stared at the crystal. They kept them. Yes, and they never told the wider world. No news reports, no videos, no panic, just silence. Zorvac took the crystal. He held it in his large hand. It felt warm, like the memory of that night. Show me the last image, he said. Cal activated a wall screen. A soft picture appeared. It showed the Brooks house from high above. Nighttime. 4 figures on the porch, 2 almost adults. A small old dog at their feet. They looked up at the stars. Zorvac watched for a long time. No one spoke. Finally he said, "They grew up safe. Happy together." Cal nodded, yes. Zorvac set the crystal down, closed the file. Mark it closed forever. No more scans of that family. No more records. Let them live. Cal looked surprised. General, they trusted us, Zorvac said. We do not break that by watching from shadows. They deserve the sky to themselves. Cal bowed his head. Understood. He left the room. Zorvac stayed alone. He looked out the tall window at the twin suns setting. Red and gold light filled the tower. He thought about the boy's steady eyes. The girl's sweet voice saying, "Thank you," the parents holding their children. Tight under the porch light, he felt something warm in his chest. Not panic. This time not worry, pride, small pride, quiet pride. He had made a mistake long ago, but he fixed it, and in fixing it, he learned something the Empire's books never taught. Some beings are worth protecting, not because they are strong, but because they choose kindness when they could choose fear. Years later on Earth, Ethan finished college. He became an engineer. He built bridges and machines that helped people. He never forgot the ship. Sometimes he looked up at night and smiled. Emma became an artist. Her paintings hung in small galleries. She painted oceans from space, cities at night, children holding hands under strange lights. People said her work felt peaceful and strange at the same time. They did not know why. One day when Ethan was 28 and Emma 26, they both came home for the holidays. Brian and Lauren were older now, gray in their hair. Slower steps. Max had passed years before, but a new puppy named Sunny slept by the fireplace. After dinner, the family sat outside. Again, same porch, same stars. Ethan said, "I still have the ball. It still glows sometimes." Emma laughed. "Mine too. I think it misses the ship." Lauren smiled. "Maybe it does." Brian looked at the sky. "If they ever come back, I hope they say hello first." They all laughed softly. High above, very far away, a single small scout drone drifted past the edge of the solar system. It did not stop. It did not scan. It just passed by, quiet and respectful. Inside a distant command tower, an old general looked at the stars one last time. He whispered to the empty room, "Grow well, small humans, grow kind." Then he turned off the light and went home. On Earth, the family stayed on the porch until the air grew cold. They went inside. They locked the door. They slept under the same roof, the silver balls in their boxes glowed once, very faintly, like a goodbye. Then they went dark. Not forever, just for now, because some stories do not need more chapters. They just need to be remembered.